Buried deep in the hills of northeast Pennsylvania lie many secrets. For centuries, this region was home to a brutal coal mining industry that produced the purest form of coal found in the land, known as anthracite. In the aftermath of this industry lie hundreds of abandoned coal mines, frozen in time, serving as portals to another world. Some are even rumored to be haunted by the souls of those who perished.
I mean, that's twice. Something's getting pushed around.
Join us on an epic journey deep inside the earth to explore some of the creepiest places found right underneath us. To understand why the hills of northeast Pennsylvania are dotted with so many abandoned mines, we must first understand some backstory on the region itself. From the moment coal was discovered in this area in 1762 and for hundreds of years following that, many men toiled underneath the earth in miserable conditions in pursuit of this precious commodity. A very few still do that to this day, although in drastically lower numbers than even a few decades ago, with most mining operations nowadays being geared towards surface strip mining, as opposed to the deep mines of old. Historically, anthracite coal fueled much of the Industrial Revolution in the United States in the 1800s and into the 1900s, and as a result, this region saw constant activity and growth in phases. After the American Civil War, this part of Pennsylvania grew in population due to large waves of immigration from across Europe, including many English, Irish, German, Italian, Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, and Jewish immigrants, among others. These immigrant men very often ended up working in the mines and were abused for their labor by greedy mine operators and companies. To give a sense of how brutal the mining industry was, it is estimated that from the 1870s until about the 1960s, 37,000 people died working in the mines due to accidents and dangerous working conditions. This is not even taking into account the many others who died from anthracite and black lung due to long-term exposure to coal dust. Children as young as 6 years old were subjugated to working in the mines often, either dying or becoming disfigured due to accidents. In a lot of ways, people were treated like cattle and considered easily replaceable commodities by the mining companies. As injustice was rampant and anger piled up among the miners, this fueled many labor strikes and even violent protests from time to time, especially amongst the European immigrants who felt taken advantage of for very little pay. One particularly egregious incident in the anthracite region that still remains mysterious and controversial to this day is that of the Molly Maguires. The story is a complicated one that even has alleged paranormal undertones and is now a local legend. It revolves around a group of Irish coal miners accused of being terrorists and part of a secret society known as the Molly Maguires, and that they conducted protests and even violent activities in the name of improving miners' rights. This culminated in the execution by hanging of 20 men accused of being part of the Molly Maguires in 1877. Accused of murder in the first degree, The judges involved in the sentencing of these men were under the payroll of the region's mining companies, and the entire incident is now seen as a completely unjustified tragedy. There is some debate whether or not the Mollies even existed in the US, and if these mostly immigrant Irishmen were just hung to be made an example of by a corrupt system controlled by the mining industry. In modern-day Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, the former Carbon County Jail was where 4 of the alleged Mollies were hung. This is where the story of the Hand of Innocence that is tied to the Molly Maguires is located, which has become somewhat of an urban legend. The story alleges that one of the supposed Mollies, a 44-year-old native of County Donegal in Ireland named Alexander Campbell, was accused of killing 2 mine operators, proclaimed his innocence as such.
A century from now, this prison will be an historic landmark. I am innocent. When the day of my execution comes, I will let the public know that I am an innocent man.
On the morning of his execution, Campbell is said to have placed a muddy handprint on the wall of cell 17 and proclaimed something to the effect of,
My mark will stay here as long as this prison remains as a sign of my unjust execution. This is the hand of an innocent man. It will remain forever to shame the country for hanging an innocent man.
As the legend goes, supposedly in the time since the execution, this handprint has been washed, the wall cleaned and painted over, yet the handprint still has remained present on the wall of cell 17. Controversy surrounds the validity of the handprint, but it remains a core story of the jail, along with other stories of ghostly hauntings. Handprint aside, the legacy of the Molly Maguires lives on in Jim Thorpe and in the Anthracite region. All of the aforementioned human misery and continued controversy share a common denominator: coal mining. So let us explore some mines. To better understand the mining history in this area, we visited the number 9 mine in Lansford, Pennsylvania, which functions as a tour into what an anthracite coal mine would have looked like while in operation.
Or to keep from falling off. It is simply more or less the floor you are standing on and the handle you're holding onto to ride to your place of work. Construction began on this shaft in May of 1900. It would eventually reach a depth of 725 feet. Our mine does have 4 levels. We are, of course, on the first level. Here are the water level. The levels are offset roughly 200 feet from each other. So level 2 is about 200 feet below us. 3 is 200 below that, 4 200 below that at the very bottom. The last time either of these 2 cages saw any use, February of 1960. They have been parked right here ever since. Now, from that time up until June of 1972 when our mine closed, they were simply mining coal left easy to get here on the first level. At that time, they didn't have a need to go any deeper. One of our many we call traveling ways underground is what we're looking at here behind me. This one is known as the Mule Way. It is named that because, again, 100 years ago when mules were still used regularly in our mines, they would physically walk them up and down between the different levels. They didn't often put them on the cages for a ride. It does boil down, of course, to profit and production, the 2 big things the company was most concerned with years ago. Oftentimes, safety did take a backseat in the mines to increase the production. It made the mines a very dangerous place. Now this chamber or chute you're going to be seeing, this goes up for a distance of 150 feet at a 45-degree angle. This is fairly steep, making your way up to the face. But you would have started your day here at the base of the chamber with your labor. You're carrying the drill bits, a box of dynamite, any lumber or timber you need to protect yourself, and any hand tools you need to go through the shift. You and your labor are carrying those supplies up there with you. So you're going up to the face of coal. Now, once you're up the face, you are first making sure there is no loose material that can follow as you are working and that your air is good. No harmful gases are present. Then you're free to start drilling in the face. You will drill 10 to 12 holes in the face of coal, all 8 feet deep. When you have your holes in place, you're going to load them with dynamite, putting 4 to 5 sticks in each hole, making sure 1 stick in each hole does contain an electric blasting cap. You will tamp all the holes good and tight, wiring your caps together, grabbing the rest of your supplies with your labor. You will come back down here to the safety of the gangway or tunnel below you. You want to be well out of the area. You as the miner, you're going to start yelling the word fire 3 times, as loud as you can, once in either direction from you, once up the nearest chamber. You need to alert other miners that you're going to be blasting. Now, given this is a mine hospital, porous underground, men did pass away from injury as well in this room. I can't deny that. Working underground in our mines is a very dangerous place to find yourself working years ago. But that should not overshadow the importance of the mine hospitals. This was your first line of defense to help you had you become injured on the job. And again, it did save many lives.
After seeing what one of the many mines in the area would have looked like while in operation, it was time for the abandoned mine exploration to begin. We linked up with Jude O'Donnell, aka the King of Coal, who has been exploring abandoned mines for over 20 years, documenting them for his channel Anthracite Horror Stories, which focuses on the many horrors of the mining industry in northeast Pennsylvania. Together with his buddy Mike, they took us on an adventure underground. As with many of the mines in this region, the one we were set to visit was the scene of many miners' deaths, and as a result, Jude described this one in particular as having a very heavy energy. Before we head into the mine, I must emphasize that this should not be attempted. Do not explore abandoned mines, as it can be deadly. In our case, we visited with seasoned mine explorers with all the proper safety equipment like air monitoring devices and more. Well, we are now in and we're going to start heading in, so let's see what it's all about.
So this was the path for the mules. This is called the Mule Way.
Wow.
And this is exactly that. And when they got rid of the mules in the 20s, sometimes 30s, just electric mine locomotives would have traversed this. Be careful because there's like hidden rocks and things.
Like a log or something in there that I must have...
The overhead timbers came down. So just brace yourself. Try to drag your feet so like hit it with the tip.
Yeah. So this would have been all... This is all the electric...
The overhead trolley wire.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see these mounts. It would have went right through it. And clamps on.
And then what was this one here? Was that just it where the...
Probably for electrical.
Okay.
Or something else. It's hard to say. Communication wire.
Holy moly.
Types of stuff. Could be. They would put these pieces of metal with wood around too when they were unsure of the roof.
Yeah.
And if it would loosen, they would get it in there tight.
Okay.
And if it would loosen up, they would grab it and it was loose. They knew that something was giving.
Right,
So
right.
it's like an early warning.
Makes sense.
I don't know.
So is that another entrance there? What is
That's
that?
we're at the mule barn already.
That's what...
Fire boss office.
Wow. Who's that?
Rock tunnel.
What is it, Luca?
Cricket? Or,
A cricket?
yeah, like whatever these, the giant cave crickets are
Oh,
called.
wow. That's creepy. It's under the chair.
For sure.
So this is an old chair of some kind. Kind of cool to see that, though.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So this is apparently vintage muck boot from the miners. Is that from the 50s, maybe?
50s most likely.
1950s. Look at that. It's got little vines growing on it now. You see that?
From the timber. Look at it.
Wow, look at that. Yeah.
See the mold on the timber on the right hand side?
I see that, yeah. That is so wild.
So we're in a rock tunnel here, and this was for haulage of coal and equipment, mules, men. So think of this as like the highway of the mine, and it's driven through solid rock. So you can see one of the veins of coal here. It would be coming up from the ground, and it's gradually going up the mountain, and it's at a steep pitch. Wow. So we're gonna go through like 4 different veins of coal when we're walking through this rock tunnel. So this coal is flat in the river valley. It goes like 800 to sometimes 2,000 feet in depth, depending on the vein of coal. and all the coal started to get drawn up the mountain at these steep pitches, these steep inclines. So where we're at here in this mountain, the coal is coming out of the valley and it's pitching upward. And what's really neat is that old school Benjamin porcelain light is in the overhead coal. I don't know how that has stayed in there probably since the 20s or 30s. But it's held. They knew what they were doing in this mine, but. All right, we're good. Okay, everything.
So you're saying that the whole valley is basically covered with mines?
Yes.
So if you think about the mountains like this, coming down to the valley, everything from near the mountaintop is just mined all the way down underneath the river. Everything is just mined. I think, Jude, what is it? 8th Street's the only area that doesn't have it.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
I didn't look on the maps.
Checking every map in that area,
Yeah.
there's nothing cut underneath there by the river.
When I was in college, I researched the deindustrialization aspect of the anthracite and how it was like multi-generational. But I read up on these people from all around the world analyzing what an anomaly this area was. And this is probably in the 80s or 90s this article was written. They said there was nothing else like it in the world except for a place in Japan where there was such a heavy urban presence overhead. Because usually mines are rural.
Yeah.
We're under massive cities. It's just madness.
Back in the day, it was rural. It was just farmland.
Yeah, exactly.
Originally.
And then Scranton and Wilkes-Barre grew about because of it.
Yep.
And but it's bad. If people could see what was under their homes, businesses,
It's caused a lot of collapses and cave-ins, right?
Yeah. And when the mines all closed in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, everything built up overhead. Warehouses, parking lots, businesses, homes, developments,
Wow.
parks, swimming pools. When we look at the maps online, in-ground swimming pools, and it's like,
And it could be within 20 feet.
ugh.
Yeah.
Just, you got solid rock,
You have no idea.
air, and then water,
Yeah.
basically, depending on where you're at in the valley.
That's pretty
So,
crazy.
and I'll explain why it's so. Okay, like right here, this essentially is a pillar of coal. The timbers do not hold up the mine. The coal pillars do. So they call it room and pillar mine law. They would mine coal and then leave coal. So they mine 50, what, Mike, anywhere from like 50 to 100 feet of coal, leave 50 to 100 feet of coal.
Yeah, roughly.
And this is a pillar. That holds up the mountain overhead.
Wow.
Or valley, wherever they were mining. Now, when the mines were closing, the World War II era, they knew the gig was up. Definitely in the 50s and 60s, they started retreat mining, robbing the pillars. They would start at the very back of the mine and pull all those pillars out. And it would cause collapse. And a lot of these mines we go into, they're robbed out and they haven't collapsed. They should have. So if there's ever any type of seismic event
That's pretty sketchy.
in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area,
Yeah.
Schuylkill County area, it's going to be
We
catastrophic.
get something over the 4.
Oh, it's gonna be-
shakes.
yeah.
Everything's just going
It's gonna be
smash
catastrophic.
into itself.
Oof. So what are we looking at right here?
So this is the mine fire boss office. And this guy oversaw the flame safety lamps. So you know, I'm going to bust one of those out for you real quick.
Oh, sweet.
So you just came through this voidage. So it would have been a real heavy door. Could have been wooden, like a real thick barn door, but someone really chiseled away at it. So it's probably one of the high-end steel or cast iron doors, and someone took it as a memento. So they were paranoid about the miners stealing everything because
Wow.
these were expensive even back in the day. This is a Kohler brass flame safety lamp, and this is an analog way to test the air. So the normal atmospheric oxygen is like 20.9, 20.8,
Right.
and the English call it choke damp. It's a lack of oxygen. Coal oxidizes, actually, and when the coal is oxidizing, when it's meeting the normal atmospheric air in the mine, it'll give off a carbon dioxide and nitrogen buildup. So it depletes the oxygen. You can't taste it, you can't smell it, you can't sense it, but it just asphyxiates you. We call it black damp.
Black
Over
damp.
in Europe, yeah, they call it choke damp. So anything under 17 and that light cannot stay lit because, flame needs oxygen for fuel. And there's a mesh netting in here. There's 2 mesh nets. You could sort of see it.
Oh, yeah,
They're brass
yeah.
too. That prevents the flame from getting so hot so it doesn't inadvertently set off methane, which is natural gas. There's natural gas issues too. You don't want that because big boom. And that's why it's protected. We call this a protected flame. A naked flame would be a lighter, and that's a no-go in
Right.
a coal mine. You don't want to blow yourself up and
Right.
everyone else. But we don't have to worry about the methane as much because that's usually trapped in the coal. We're not working the coal, so the methane is trapped in the coal seam still. So we have to watch that though for black damp.
Yeah.
So they
And
would
that's what they would have used back in the day.
Oh,
to-
yeah. This was revolutionary. 1870s, 1880s. This is more refined. This was made in 1960, which I was shocked. But yeah, this is what my great-grandfathers would have used and grandfathers.
Wow.
So this would have all been up in here. You can see all the little,
That's where they'd hang them?
yeah, I guess these would be smaller ones. They various shapes and sizes, these. They made them locally too in Scranton.
Right.
This was made, I think, in Kentucky. Over here, they would store them too.
Wow.
So they would grab your flame lamp, and they would keep this door locked because they were so paranoid about the miners, God bless them.
I'll go out here, Luca.
You see this rebar?
Yep.
They don't want people reaching in here. That's how little they thought of you.
Wow.
They would hand your lamp,
Let's take it right
you
now.
know, take it. So you would have a brass tag checkboard. And see those little holes
right
drilled
here?
out? So you would have a tag assigned to you, like say number 25 is Jude, and you would hand them the tag and they would put your tag up, and it was like a safety device. This would have
Wow.
been mounted up here. So I don't know if they took the tag, the miner took it, or they kept it up on the board. But at the end of the shift, depending on their policy with the check tag system, if your tag was still hanging up or missing, again, I don't know what policy they would know that you were missing.
Yeah.
So it was also a security device. It's like a receipt that you took
Right.
the lamp.
Okay.
But it was to know if you were hurt or missing or whatever.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Whole big mess here.
See, it already died.
Just been left here, huh?
One down.
Little shelf.
That is, I think, a heater. They had electric heaters. There's a heater there. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. 30s vintage, man.
There's old boots right here.
Yeah, check those out, huh? Wow. Yep. There you go. Old. You can see the paperwork.
1891.
Polish name.
Polish name. Person making examination.
Maybe there's a junior.
Wow.
Look at that. I'll find
It's
some
all just
dates
been
here.
left here. I mean, this is
Unbelievable.
just history right here.
This is someone's grandfather.
And a piece of coal just sitting right there
Yep.
on top of the paper. Look at that.
You can see
That
there's
is
something,
crazy.
something found safe. Clarence? Polish name. Yeah, look at that. Fire boss.
Fire boss.
You can see where they had overhead timbering. They would have notched that out to place the wood. I think it was like a house.
That timber would it connect? That's
Yeah.
the timber right there.
There you go.
That is the very.
Yep. This one or that one. Yep.
They just kind of okay. So there's a second hole. So right there,
Yeah.
connecting to right in here. Okay.
Amazing, isn't it? And that was just where they were in the coal, because again, we're in a rock tunnel. And you can see they were a little bit concerned, not terribly, they were a little bit concerned with this coal. And that's why this timber,
Yeah, this
with this
little timber here.
cap board, wedge. So if that took weight, if it was bowing, they knew, hey, it's coming down. But that's still pretty
Solidly
straight.
in there.
Yeah.
So is that more of like a warning system
Yes.
then?
Yep.
Because they're not expecting this to hold up the whole thing, right? It just lets you know get out of dodge.
Exactly. See here the overhead trolley wire where it made connection to different like intersections. It was like a switch track. Instead of rail, this was overhead for the trolley wire. It's pretty cool. All right, we're gonna go into the mule barn now. This would not have been here when there was mules in the mine. This came after the mules left.
Go for it.
This is gonna blow your mind.
Whoa.
Yeah, look at that. Here, I'll light you up.
What? This is wild. No kidding. So, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's mule barn, man.
How many go back there?
I think, was there 12 of those?
It's like a
We'll
dozen.
count them out. So
This
you
is
can
crazy.
see there was 2 mules per stable.
Maybe just keep them in here, huh?
Yeah.
Mules living underground.
Yep.
Poor mules, man.
Crazy, isn't it?
Boots, old boots. Look at that.
Yep.
What is that? Little,
Mike would know. He's more
some kind of little rubbery thing.
That was probably a gasket or a seal
Oh.
between a pipe.
Look at this. You got the old boots.
Man.
These ones are deteriorating, and then you've got all kinds of little artifacts up there.
Mine phone, like an old Edison.
That cool. Wow. The bottle.
Yeah. Still says something on it.
It says on the bottom. It says, I don't know what it says. Oh, it's Heinz. It's ketchup.
Oh, nice.
52 or 25.
52 or 25. Well, that's
Considering
it's a good
the
age range, but
yeah.
so that's what's left of an old helmet. Huh?
Yeah. Old MSA.
How old would this particular model be?
Ooh. Mike, I say 30s, 40s, right? World War II.
World War II.
What happened here was, this was obviously a mule barn. They were worried about their investment and their infrastructure. So this is all coal coming up out of the ground from the valley. Again, shooting back up the mountain. You can see the pitch of the coal going up that way. So when this was in operation, they kept all this coal in reserve. They called it reserve. They didn't mine it. So when they got rid of the mules, they went in, they didn't care anymore, and they started pulling the coal pillars out. And that's why you see these massive, very slippery holes in the ground. Don't step in
Don't
that.
step anywhere near there.
You'll go right to the aquifer. The bottom rock is like a sheet of glass.
Wow. And then they just left all the
Yeah.
existing infrastructure here.
Yeah,
huh?
they didn't chase out all the coal. I guess they just figured going through the rest of the floor would be not worth it.
Oh yeah,
You
look
can
at
see
that.
the acid mine drainage. Yeah. That's deep. Many hundreds of feet deep.
Wow. Dynamite, explosive, New York, USA. That is wild. Look at that.
So these rails would have been in front or back of the stable, and they would have used mine cars, the same as what they were hauling the coal out with, to service the hay and the
Yeah.
crap, literally. So when they were robbing the pillars out, they just placed the rail here.
And so those are the troughs then for the mules, huh?
Yeah, some of them are filled with water here. See one of the tie downs for the mules? What is that?
I don't know. Is that a boot? It's like a
It's odd. Mike, put your head in here. Hold your breath.
There's wood in this
Yeah. Almost looks like a milk bottle, because here's a milk bottle. Here.
one. What's left of a milk bottle?
Bottle, yeah, but
There's oil in here.
Ooh, nasty.
Ooh.
Nasty, nasty.
Look at this little old
Oh, yeah.
bottle just wedged in the rock.
Crazy, isn't
There's a bunch of them there broken too.
it? Nuts.
Coming up to you.
Until you see this.
Which
You're
one?
gonna have an editing nightmare. on this one.
Look at
Isn't that
that.
amazing?
Another boot. Look at that. That's just so wild to see. It's like a time capsule. It really is.
It surely is.
Piece of history. Is that some fossils?
Closest thing to
fossil
time
there.
travel.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that crazy? We've got, I'm gonna do a little comparison, right? We've got some ancient fossils right here. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then we have some modern fossils right near it. I mean, just what's left over from our infrastructure.
Is that crazy? Look at that age.
That's wild. And it's got the red coming out of it.
Amazing. What is it? It's a dinosaur head straight from hell itself. Oh wait, no, never mind. It's just a boot.
It's a boot. It looks pretty convincing. There's one
It
angle.
does. You have to love like the fact that other miners out west mine the copper, and then a lot of the times the copper's down here, and it just rots back into an area
copper sulfide.
underground.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it just comes full circle. It's like, what? Like for a short amount of time it was machined and used by humans, and then it just returns back in the earth.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
wild.
crazy. I filmed that and then like, fucking alien.
That's creepy. Is that an old glove?
It's iron. What is it? Yeah, so that's like acid mine drainage. Kind of like the stuff that's eating the Titanic.
How crazy is that?
Like bacteria.
Looks like
Yeah.
a hand.
Look like fingers, yeah.
Yeah.
It really does. That's creepy. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Starting here.
Oh, wait.
All the way almost down to the floor. Look at that. Almost at the floor. I mean, that is crazy. And then next to it, a bunch of old boots.
So, The mules were known to commit premeditated murder. If there was a kid, they had kids essentially, and young teens that were mule drivers, and they would guide them through the tunnels, hauling the coal, because the mules hauled the coal in and out. Well, they hauled the coal cars in that were empty, and also the loaded ones out. They would commit premeditated murder, it was said. If they didn't like a kid that would whip them, or beat them, or was just mean to them, or even, like an adult minor, they would wait until you got around a corner in a tunnel, and they would give you like the side eye, and they would squish you, and they would hold you there. They knew, the mules knew that they could squish these little creatures, us, and just asphyxiate you and crush you, and just kill you. So there was some miners that had worries about certain mules because they had reputations for being murderers. So they would give them their desserts, a little cupcake or part of their sandwich. They would try to bribe it,
Wild.
and they wouldn't abuse those ones. Hopefully they didn't abuse any of them, because it's horrible that they're down here in the first place. So yeah, these mules would sometimes commit premeditated murder, and you'd have to bribe them with snacks.
Murderous mules and mines. I mean, this is, you can't even make this up.
They kick you, right in the chest. Reenacts airports.
Especially with the kids. I mean, this was obviously before child labor or anything kind of existed, right?
Yeah,
what was the youngest kids that would have been in the mine like this?
Oh God, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Crazy.
They would be tending the air doors, the air brattice doors. They would sit in total dark most of the time. And when they would hear a trip of cars coming down, so a mule hauling a section of coal cars behind it, it's called a trip of cars, they would quickly have to open this air brattice door, or the mule and the coal cars would come crashing through the door, and that door would crush the kid. Wow. And if the kid survived, they would be pissed off because now their air brattice door is destroyed, and they have to fix that because that door was critical for the good flow of air throughout the mine. They were constantly channeling fresh air and dirty air throughout the mine. And a lot of these kids were immigrants. They didn't have shoes. It was crazy. It was true Appalachia madness, and it was vulture capitalism. I'm all for capitalism, but it was a whole different level back then, man.
Little kids running around.
Brutal. Yeah, can you imagine 6, 7, 8?
Was it like the fathers would work in the mine too, and the kids would also be put to work?
Yes.
How easy we have it nowadays.
I know.
Right? Think about it.
And if you died, they would bring your body out. They didn't shut the mine down. They would take the body to the house, knock. If no one was there, it's a true story, they would dump the corpse on the front porch, or leave it in the house if the door was open, right in front of the children. This happened to Leonard Selzinski, who's a coal miner that worked with my grandfather, Joseph Gibbons, and his grandfather was killed in a mine explosion, not terribly far from here. Like something like 8 or 10 or 11 guys died, and they dumped the body off in front of the children. And Leonard's father also died in a mining accident. And it's crazy. It's so sad.
And I know the statistic is what, 37,000?
Yeah, 37,000 died reported violently underground. So
in this region alone.
In this anthracite region, yeah. 37,000 reported, but there was probably
There's
a lot
probably more.
There's probably 3 times that amount.
Hundreds of thousands of people would have died from anthracite too.
Right.
So you're breathing in the coal dust.
Yep.
And it essentially cuts up your lungs, embeds into your lungs, miner's asthma, black lung, and it gets you 10, 20, 30 years later. My great-grandfather, Michael Marciniak, first generation American, he died from it in the 70s. My great-grandfather, Andrew Tislichko, who came from Western Ukraine, he came here in 1917, 1947. He left the mines, was walking home, got pneumonia and died. But it was really anthracite.
Right.
So it's bad. So many hundreds of thousands of people died.
Making our way up the little vein here. Look at that.
Yeah, it's part of, I think, an electric mine locomotive, something.
Look at that down there. That's
One
nuts.
right there.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
one right here. I think I saw another one. But they're like when me and Jude did the one, and we were crawling through the workings. There's boxes everywhere.
A little ladder.
Tom, how you feel?
What did you find here?
That was just laying here next to these bottles, and that would be. Wow. Is that going on the coal?
That's a cart tag, yeah. So basically there would be a little nail on the outside of the mine car. They had no way of really having good communication back then. So how do you find out, say, what Jude mined? Well, Jude had these tags, 1181, that's Jude, just like that
Yep.
fire boss office with the tags. It's probably the same exact tag, Mike.
Yeah, it would be.
At
A
the tag
rip-off of it.
checkboard for the flame safety lamp, but these also doubled for the coal cars. So there's a nail on the outside. They bring the coal car up here. He sticks it there. It goes out to the surface. I guess maybe someone they would be checking outside, one of those, they'd have buildings outside. They would pull that off. Okay, 1181, 5-ton coal car. They would write it down, and you got credit.
It would probably just be a check
Credit.
for that number. It'd be a list of
Yeah,
numbers,
yeah.
who's
How
working,
many
and
tons
then
of
you just
coal? How
write a
many coal
check.
cars? Yeah, they were not supposed to use naked flame, which is matches, cigarettes, just an exposed flame because of methane. But everywhere you go in the mines, there's empty packs of cigarettes and matches.
Matchboxes, yeah.
Just smoking like crazy.
But don't forget,
Explosions
back in the day,
going off.
There's so much more airflow with the
Oh, yeah.
fans,
Right.
openings. And
But still, thousands and thousands of people got smoked. That
Crazy.
day. It looks like it's going closer.
How cool is that? See the wires?
Yep.
you open your ass finally?
Sliding down a chute here.
That's good.
Gloves. As we made our way deeper into the mine itself, at one point both Mike and Jude happened to hear a strange sound while none of us were really paying attention.
It was deafening loud.
Did you hear it, Luca?
Was that your weight?
I don't think so. I didn't hear anything.
You got, oh
I
shoot.
just touched the wall as I was walking by.
You guys both heard
Did
something?
you go?
No.
Yeah, we both heard.
I heard it.
We're at the junction of the activity.
You heard a meow?
I 100% heard it.
I thought it was you meowing. Oh my god.
Well, that's creepy. Well, from what you've told me, this mine has a little bit of a history of weirdness.
Yeah, a lot of death. A lot of death. And I don't know how I feel about any of it, but when I play my footage back here, there's multiple times.
Creepy. Yeah.
Something whispering in the camera. It's like, whatever it is, it's intelligent
Yeah.
and it's
Yikes.
in real time. I'm getting goosebumps, dude.
Oh yeah.
Mike, I thought that was you, dude. Oh my god.
I was not even paying attention, so I didn't hear it.
Oh, dude, it's just
That always happens. I'm always like doing something else.
It came in between Mike and I, roughly, right, Mike? About halfway in between us, right? The meow. Yeah, I heard it like where Luke is. So we went through the first vein of coal. Now we're traveling east the mountain. And here's the overhead trolley water mounts. Trolley water mount.
So what, lights are going down?
Yeah, I just turned it off. It was at 3, like, just back
I
there.
saw that, yeah. Well, I saw that it was charged when we were still in there. So you're saying battery's dead?
It's not dead, but it's just...
We would just put that in there. And this, is it back
just
now?
one bar.
These batteries suck, but they don't suck that much.
Yeah, it's this mine.
That thing doesn't suck. That's what I'm kind of weirded out by.
It's this
My GoPro's okay,
Yeah,
but I wasn't like
my
even
Brunite's
close to you
okay.
guys.
It is what it is, dude. It's just
Not the first time you've had something like this happen in this,
No, not in
this
this
mine. Yeah.
only X amount of times in a couple mines, 20 years in.
Right.
So something's up.
So it's not like it's a norm.
Oh, absolutely not. So
Is
here's
this a little collapse
yeah, you
section?
can see. Wow. Okay, so that's a fossilized piece of iron. And you can see where it grew in the roof and it
look
flopped
at
out.
that.
It's something like a terminated petrified stump. That's what I've been. I don't know if it's true if it was a terminated
See right
petrified
there?
stump. But yeah, this thing is really heavy. It's iron.
Look at the track.
Yeah, is that cool?
Holy moly.
Is that neat? There's a shaft about a mile
mile
and a
in?
quarter down this. We try to get into it, but you're gonna see there's real bad collapse up here.
So this is backside of a coal car.
Back of a coal car or a front.
What was left of it?
It's probably the swing door.
I was gonna say
Swung
there's
open.
a swing.
Yeah, they got the little.
So they were repurposing it, or the whole coal car is rotted, which is possible. So this is Sketchville here.
Whoa.
We're not gonna go under this.
Yep.
We're not.
Doesn't seem like a smart idea.
No.
But we can look at it from here.
Yeah, I'm gonna check the damp here because this is a known black damp spot.
So this is an area of known black damp.
Yes. Yeah, in the summer months.
Stick it there. It should be fine.
20.9.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
My
I'm
bad.
sorry.
Tons of airflow.
Watch your light, Mike.
Just double checking.
Yep, we're
So
good.
you've got two methods. You've got the electrical
Digital.
here, digital, and then you've
Analog.
got your old school.
Yeah, that you can't fake.
Yep.
That's physics. Oh, tasty pie. Okay, so there's a mine that's attached to this one. They were the same mine, but now they're different mines due to collapse. They're obsessed with their tasty pies. Take a look at that.
What? Is that like a
Hold on.
snack?
Yeah, it's a little pie. Like lemon, blueberry.
Oh,
Take out these ones.
tasty. Oh, look at that. Pasty pie? Is that what it's called? Or tasty pie? Tasty pie. Wow. Delicious cold or when warmed?
That's amazing.
In a hot oven. Look at that. It's a little piece of history.
Wire rope. Most likely made by Hazard Wire Rope, and I believe were they in Wilkes-Barre or Hazleton? I'm sure they had offices. They had offices in both.
Hazleton.
There's a lot of infrastructure here. There's a leaf from the 50s. What? A leaf from the 50s. What kind of leaf is that? That's an odd leaf, for real. I'm not kidding.
Now I'm getting a little battery fly.
Well, we've got antifreeze, anti-rust here.
Yeah, what were they using the antifreeze for? See
That goes in
DuPont.
in the it's not steam
Transformers?
lines. No. It goes in the airlines, so they stop until freezing. So right there's moisture.
Too cool. It's really weird.
Pretty crazy. Just sitting here in a mine that was started in the late 1800s. Closed for 60 plus years at this point. And I mean, we've been in here for hours. It's a really strange feeling being down here and knowing how much of these hills around here are just honeycombed with mines everywhere. What these guys have been telling me. I'm impressed. It's a very different feeling, even than caves. I've been in caves before, and there's chambers, you'll go through passages, but this is just knowing that people toiled in here every day, day in and day out, dug these tunnels, put all this infrastructure in here, had animals in here. It's a really unbelievable thing. I don't think a lot of people either know about this or appreciate the efforts and the suffering that so many people went through just to create this infrastructure to harvest little pieces of coal. Well, not little pieces, but lots of pieces. But yeah, these are just my thoughts, right in the moment. This is just absolutely wild. It's very weird. It's eerie. Especially if I turn the light off. No full lights off here. I mean, it's such a darkness that is so hard to describe. Like the darkest dark you can imagine. We're inside the ground. We're underground. Crazy.
Dark ground space.
That's just nuts to think about. Okay, well, we just heard something come crashing down over there. I heard it. I have like goosebumps right now.
It wasn't like a rock.
No.
It sounded like something like crumbling and moving. I don't know.
It wasn't.
Was it possibly from us, like you said, Mike, touching
You were
something?
standing by that air door. Did you place the hammer there like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way I remember.
That's where I just heard that and I got like chills down my back.
Okay, so that's that spot. Yeah, maybe we should continue back towards the back.
I like it.
Yeah, I got the chills now, guys.
I mean, that was creepy.
Are you starting to see? Do you feel the energy in this spot's a little off too, right? It's not necessarily.
It's not
bad.
creepy. It's just you can feel it's different.
There. Something's there.
It's different.
My lens, when my lens here, my camera would not focus. Like it kept fogging.
So man, you've had a lot of weird stuff happen
In this mine.
in this mine in particular.
Yeah, a few mines over the years. Take my helmet off real quick. But yeah, my friend's through night batteries. This only takes one through night battery, and his takes 4. It's like a $300 flashlight now. But they were all new batteries and fully charged. He was whispering, because I told him, hey, there's something sketchy about this mine. He was like, I don't believe in that supernatural stuff. And he was whispering into my ear, hey man, something during my through night, something during my through night, something during my through night. We didn't think anything of it, and we're standing right here. And he was actually like, just like this, and right in between us, it went, something went, like when a tractor trailer goes by. Not as violent, but definitely like a car at a high rate of speed.
It's creepy.
And we're like, whoa! Don't know what it was. Wasn't a bat.
Yeah,
It's too big, too much mass moved. I don't know.
I mean,
Creepy.
if you're right here, the only thing that could explain that is that collapse right there that punches into a working.
Yeah, there was no
Has
collapse.
tons of air coming this way.
Wouldn't it be one
No,
massive?
but I don't
push
mean
like
by
that?
the collapse, but the air that's flowing
Yeah.
from that working. But
It was one big violent.
yeah, one
motion.
bush versus a constant.
Yeah. And yeah, people have picked up children's voices here. I've picked up a lot of weird stuff on audio. Ooh,
Heard the crumbling again.
ooh, 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 ooh. 20 years. Oh, no one was agitating anything back there.
No.
No, I didn't touch anything. We didn't touch the walls.
Okay, all right.
So we just heard another rock come crumbling down. You're saying
something's getting pushed around. Don't laugh. It's not the roof. Someone's moving. It's a Tommy knocker. I know. And I would literally joke about the Tommy knockers, but I mean that's twice.
Yeah.
It's not coming from the
And
roof.
of course it's happening when we're not filming, but we all heard it. I mean, you heard it that second time too. And it's gonna happen
we're
when we're
just
not
passing through. Don't worry. I mean, no one's agitating.
Just visiting.
I mean that does not happen.
No. And you said you've been in this particular mine quite a bit and you've never
10 times.
never had that happen?
No, nothing's getting thrown like that. It's getting thrown. Something's tossing. It's tossing stuff. That is just.
Don't know what to say.
I'm speechless.
You've been doing this almost 20 years?
20 years and nothing.
And nothing close to that much?
Not twice rapid succession like that. That is not the roof. His batteries are getting drained. We heard the cat. Meow.
Yeah.
Loud.
There's been a weird sequence
In
of
between
events.
us, the cat. Yeah, it's all in this rock tunnel. So.
And I mean, I know I don't want to say the specific number, but there is, dozens of people died in this
Yes.
very mine.
And more than that too, spread out. So like something just it's trolling us.
Yeah,
It's
it's toying
trolling.
with us, but
It's trolling. Yeah, no doubt.
and we're not scared. We're just visiting. No
we mean
ill
nothing
intentions,
for
it's just-
real. Yeah, we're good.
We want to document what
Yep.
has
Okay, my
happened.
hair is standing on end.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Are you feeling that too?
I am.
just,
I'm gonna keep it rolling now, just in case it happens again.
Check this out. 3-piece timber sets. We have the collar timber up top and the 2 side timbers.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
were-
This is like a taller section.
Oh
here.
yeah, well they were bracing it up here again because we're in a rock haulage tunnel. And
Yep.
when they hit the coal, it's notoriously unstable. This isn't mine. This is just crushed from coming down.
Coming down.
You can see the coal vein up top.
Yep, I see that big fat coal vein.
Yep, and it's cutting through these coal seams that are
Look at
going
this.
up the mountain.
Look at this.
So
How shiny that is.
wow, yeah, it's like glass, isn't
Look at that.
it?
You see it?
Dear God, sharp. So be careful.
Look at this. You got a little blue streak coming through. It really opens up over here,
Oh
huh?
yeah, check this out, man.
Whoa.
You get in the nitty gritty now.
Got
Yeah.
one
This is
route
called a
there.
gangway.
Gangway, another route there. Another route down
Yep.
here. Do they all connect eventually?
Oh, yeah, everything's interconnected. See how, no, okay, so right here, you can see how the vein of coal is coming up from the floor.
There's an old glove right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Stuck in time, man.
Weird. So what do we have here? This is a whole bunch of
peacock.
peacock. So this is basically the purest of the pure
Yes.
on Earth.
Yeah,
Right
look at
here.
that. It's got greens, purples.
Look at that.
Right off
It's a
little
rainbow.
bit. All right, let's try
There's a lot
again.
of green in here.
That's
There.
nice.
Mike, no burping. So this is how they braked the coal cars. They would jam this in the spokes of the mine car wheel, and it would go up and hit like the bottom of the car or whatever, and it would stop. It would be, and little kids would run along. They would sprag. They call them spraggers, and they'd be like, boop, and every now and then it would get jammed. It would break your arm or rip your arm off, because these were big coal cars. They're like this big, fully topped. They'd be about this big.
You're stopping 5 tons of coal.
Yeah, per car trip, plus the weight of the car, which is probably 1,000 pounds. So you have little kids with these dimly lit lamps on their head. Wouldn't even be throwing this much light, maybe this much light, and they're going around just spragging all day, just breaking coal cars. So this is handmade too.
Crazy.
Really neat. The mines were constantly closing, opening, again, closing. They would run skeleton crews. So they were so used to the shutdowns that they became complacent. So these mines, they left all their gear in them. They left hoists, mine locomotives,
Tools.
everything, you name it. Their helmets, their alcohol. And they just never came back.
Like they thought they were going to continue working and it just never happened.
Yeah.
Somebody could have just been working here. One day, it's a normal work day, you leave the mine, you leave all your stuff here, you don't return the next day, and then we are here 70 plus years later
Yeah.
finding stuff that was left then.
And they came down, some of them obviously scrapped the rail. You see how there's 2 sets of tracks?
Yeah.
1, 2. They came, they lifted the rail, and the overhead trolley wire again
And they
was
just
scrapped.
sold anything they could.
Exactly. This is it, baby. So they mine coal. We're not at a barrier pillar too. So in between different mines, they would leave barrier pillars in between different collieries, different coal operations for safety, for flooding. This is not a barrier pillar. This is the end of the industry. This is it.
Wow.
So the mines operated from the 1820s, 1830s. They were, in full force by the American Civil War. And right here, 1960,
This is where all comes to an end.
came to an end. They were advancing the mine. Flashlight fire, naturally. They're advancing it, and that's it.
That's the end.
And it's still a good vein of coal. You can see there. You
Yeah,
got coal
right.
here. You got your coal straight ahead. You got your coal off to the left. I mean, it's not the best.
It's the end of an
looking.
era.
That's it. The mine died right here, 1960.
It's all
Could be 59.
It's all been downhill from there.
Yeah, peak year was 1917, 100 million ton mine. And now what, 5 million ton if that? I haven't checked production. 10, 15 years ago, they were like 5 to 6 million ton a year. It's a shadow that's from herself. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? Right here, man, this is it.
After seeing the end of the mine, we backtracked to the front to explore one final area, which might have been the creepiest looking section yet. Still infrastructure left here.
Yeah. Imagine that.
It's like a skeleton. It
Wood-
looks like a
wood
skeleton. Crazy.
Wood piping like a big barrel, think of it is.
Look at that. You see what it says?
What it says, no deposit, no return. Does it say anything underneath? It says something.
43.
1943. Oh, look at that.
She got some Earl in there.
Oh,
Oh.
that's gross.
Some slime.
Some ooze came out. What is that?
Ectoplasm.
Some,
Gunky grease, maybe?
that's
Get
weird.
that bottle, get a hug.
Probably grease, huh?
So these
Look,
are
they're like wilted on the bud.
these are flowers you previously
yeah, a
put down
long
here?
time ago.
You're gonna leave these because, as you said, a lot of people
A lot
pass
of people
away in
perish
this
in this
time.
mine, yeah. Specifically down this way. Right down there.
We've got our flowers left here.
Yeah, I can't really talk about the specific history of this mine because I don't want to give up the location because there's so much wildlife in here, a ton of wildlife. And unfortunately, it gets backfilled, animals get entombed, and they perish. A lot of bats, raccoons, stuff like that. But I can't have the animals dying because I give up a location. So that's why you have to like guard it. Plus, you don't want anyone else coming down here. We don't want anyone mimicking this.
Yeah, so don't try this at home.
No. It is. Careful, it's super sharp shell here. And then it opens up. Wait. Yeah, back down. Okay, don't walk to the right, you'll die, but we're gonna let you guys light it up.
Okay.
Watch your head, there's a little bit of roof delaminars.
What?
So we want you guys to walk on that wooden platform.
Holy moly.
Look how clear it is right now.
There's the hole down.
Yeah. So
Look at that.
this, you can see this wooden platform. I don't know if that was an escape way per se, but this was undoubtedly an air shaft. So they would have pumped all that water out for 60, 70 years when they, close the mine, they turn the water pumps off, it fills up, but that's probably 400 or 500 feet
Really?
of water. Oh yeah. That's why they walled
That's
that
not
off.
somewhere you want to fall into.
No, you're toast, man. That water's, mid-50s.
So it is just the acidic nature of it.
You're not getting out. You're gonna freeze to death, and you're gonna just float down
You're not
there
gonna be able to
after
climb
you
out,
drown.
right?
Yeah.
Terrifying to think
Yeah.
about.
It's very,
I'd
very
rather not
scary.
think about it. As we began to conclude our journey in the mine, we headed back to the surface. We spent a good 5 to 6 hours underground, yet it felt much longer and was like visiting another world. The strange sounds we heard in the mine could just be circumstantial, going along with the heavy energy present there. In many ways, these places are tombs for the many souls that perished deep inside the earth. These mines serve as a creepy reminder of the many hardships those in the past went through to make much of the modern world possible. This region of Pennsylvania will continue to be affected by the aftermath of the anthracite industry, both culturally and certainly environmentally, for a very long time.